अजीज दोस्तों, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, नमस्ते, सत श्री अकाल, जय जिनेंद्रा, गुड आफ्टरनून. अजीज दोस्तों, वेलकम टू द शो on British politics and Indian diaspora's role. We, the Indian origin British people here, we always try to protect our ideological boundaries of India, and we also always try to play our positive role in British politics as we live here. So we have very much interest in British politics to safeguard the interests of common British people. And we always try that we bring the correct perspective. And of course, at the same time, we always try to bring Indian perspective on our platforms of Reach. Reach is a group of Indian professionals living in London uh, and trying to bring positivity, especially between British and Indian people. Today, we are going to discuss the current political turmoil in England, in UK, where British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has to leave, and he has resigned, and he will continue until the new leader of Conservative is elected or selected by Conservative members. The front runner is Rishi Sunak. He is a Indian origin, but of course he is very much British. And we at Reach had many discussions privately on this topic. And in the beginning, I was not very much convinced, but then there are some points which makes me convinced that there is no better choice for British people than Rishi Sunak ji. Let me introduce you to the panelists today who are joining me to discuss this discussion. Hirdesh Gupta ji, he is a British Indian Conservative member and very much active in conservative politics. In March consular elections this year, he was very active with different candidates of Conservative and always on front for Indian and British politics. Gayatri ji, the famous Bharat ki beti, always brings very correct things on her platforms and always active on British and Indian politics. And Indranil ji, he is going to join us within few minutes. Indranil ji, also a British professional Indian living here and playing his positive part here. Welcome to the show, Hirdesh ji, Gayatri ji, Indranil ji. Hiteshi, I will start with you. Let us know why Rishi is important.
Yeah, thank you, Arif bhai. It's a always pleasure to be part of such program. And as you mentioned about the reach, first I want to talk about bit of reach, and then we'll go into the particular topic. As you said, the reach is run by the professionals, right? We are not uh, employed by any organization or something like that. We are the nationalists, the people who want to do something, the positivity about India as well as for the British, right? Because uh, India have been our motherland, and the UK is our the the workland, right? So we want to bring both the countries together, and we bring the positivity. Now, coming to the topic of Rishi Sunak, why he's important, why he's the front runner. If you talk about, first of all, he's a well-educated Oxford alumni, and the successful chancellor in the two terms he has done with Boris Johnson, right? If you look at his tenure, whatever the duration he got, he was the first time elected in 2017, yeah, and then he got re-elected in 19. If you look at his tenure, he got the most challenging time as a financial secretary, right? And during the Brexit, you see, every the opponent was always targeting him and all, and the economy was also always in crisis. When you talk about the pandemic, the world was suffering. It was going through depression, everywhere lockdown, and people were losing their job and all. But his policies, furlough policies, where he made people to face this pandemic and survive, that make the people to face such a disaster period in their life, right? But he was not having any experience, but he has done. There have been some mistakes, everybody does the mistakes, but it's learning also, right? But if you look at the entire cabinet of the Boris Johnson in 2019 onward, he is the front runner, he saved the country, he done the whatever the best he can do. After this, all the party gates and all, Boris has to resign, and I can see he's the only person which Indians like him, British people like him, and in fact, the opposition doesn't have much to talk about against him. Yeah, they have a few points, but he is very clear on those parts. So I see he is the most capable person. He can take the country forward. He got the experience as a finance secretary. He knows that how country can be run, working along with Boris Johnson. So he is the best choice, and that's why we Indian diaspora in UK and all the people and the British are supporting him. And if you look at all the polls are coming, he is the front runner, and so we all are supporting, and we are seeking support for everyone to come forward and support Rishi. Thank you,
Uh,
Arvind.
Thank you, Hirdeshji. You are right. He is a very much qualified person to rule this political government. Gayatri ji, coming to you, are you supporting Rishi just because he is an Indian origin, or do you think he is the best person to rule?
Arif ji, namaste, and thank you for inviting me to this platform. I want to start with this note that any candidate who wants the most consequential job in the country will rightly face a significant amount of criticism and opposition will throw mud at it and scrutiny. There is no other Tory leaders at present in this country in the moment who could match Rishi Sunak's policies and the way he has stood out different from others. For example, Hridesh told about the financial, policies he has carried over the pandemic, but I also want to tell that he has vowed for women empowerment and protecting women rights when there is a talk about this gender neutrality thing which is going on. So he maintains a perfect balance about that wokeism and liberalism, and not too far right or not too like far left. So that is why he is one of the most favorite. And coming to, there are two more candidates who are in the line, that is called Mr. Nadim Javani and Sulela Breverman. But Jawahi actually, he could not stand with the promises he has given in the past. Few days back he was standing behind Boris Johnson and he was backing, but when he was promoted to Rishi Sunak's post after Rishi Sunak resigned, he had got that personal ambition to become the prime minister. So it looks more of his a personal objective than serving to the country. Plus his past is a bit dicey because of the funnelizing of the funds and some second jobs he had, which is in the public, and most of his money has been shipped out. So we do not know that if he had paid tax to the country or whether. So the money part of his income is a bit dicey at the moment. Coming to Suella Breverman, who is the current general attorney, she's also in the line competing, but she's rumored to be having extreme right thoughts, which is not bit healthy in a country like England. And people compare her with Trump's characteristics. So I feel it's just not Indian, that Indian factor, but the way Rishi Sunak has handled the situation in pandemic is quite, excellent. Yeah, those are my views.
Thank you, Gayatri ji. Before moving forward, in Hirdesh bhai, there is a question for you by Tina Bharadwaj. She is asking Hirdesh Gupta, How can we join Reach India?
Yeah, Arif bhai, there are different ways you can join. Most of our activity happens over the web because of the pandemic. We are carrying over. We are just soon going on the ground level activities as well. You can follow our handle. Is there on the poster. This poster you can see, and the YouTube channel, Facebook, Insta. We are everywhere. You just search Reach India, you will find. We have our Telegram group as well, and we have our WhatsApp group as well. So we'll post all the links here again at the end of this session, and so you can follow. We do not have any kind of membership kind of thing right now, and but we whatever we do from our own pocket. We don't ask for any donation at all. So yeah, this is the free membership. Everybody can join. Thank you.
Uh, Gayatri ji, there is a question by GM. I hope you can answer this. What are key points which Rishi Sunak has highlighted he will address once he comes to power as UK leader?
So definitely one of the points as discussed, the lot of people are having of the increased tax cuts. So that is something which is going to be discussed among the cabinet ministers. That and there's second I said protecting women rights. Women should be known for their own gender. A mother should be called as a mother, and these are the Rishi's words. As of today, a few hours ago, he said that doesn't matter if you're transgender or but a woman who has to have the originality has to protect her rights. So I think that is going to win a lot of votes from women side, and we would see, and Rishi would be having the golden opportunity to cover up all the Boris mistakes. And yes, and one of the recent news which I have learned, Rishi has pointed out trade deals with India. So that those are the things like Britain is going to recover from the economical crisis.
Uh,
Ariji, I'm back. I was sorry, I got kicked out. I'm back now. So
you're you are gone back. Coming to the discussion, Indranil ji has some connection issues. As soon as he gets ready, we will get him into the discussion. Hirdesh ji, I have a question for you. Uh, since Labour is not, I think, good party to rule England because their policies are not good for development and prosperity of England, UK. uh, and conservative. Coming to conservative, we see that last three prime ministers had to resign in between their tenure, like Cameron and then Theresa May and now Boris Johnson. Do you think there is a crisis of leadership in conservative?
Arif bhai, very good question. First, I'll start with the Labour Party. Right, you mentioned about the Labour Party, and then we'll come to conservative leadership. Right. The bigger difference you find that Labour Party and Conservative is in Labour Party's politics is in India. If you look at the Congress, like appeasement politics, they are more deep into appeasement politics. When the Jeremy Corbyn was their leader, and you can see what kind of policy they were talking about, and racism, all things were happening, and they are more on the capitalist side, and they want to bring everybody together, which is good, but not on the cost of others' taxes. Just applying tax the more to the few people, and just the people to get more benefit who are doing nothing. Those kind of policies Labor was bringing. So Labor is having no choice. If you look at traditionally, Indian diaspora used to be vote bank for Labor, right? But it has been drastically shifted towards conservative. The reason is because of appeasement politics. Okay, now why a conservative ruling from almost a decade now, right? The reason is conservative is more like a BJP in India. They are more nationalist, nationalistic, and they are more patriotic. And when talk about the leadership crisis, I don't see is a leadership crisis. I would say the democracy in the Conservative Party. The being the prime minister, you are not the topmost position. Still, the leadership takes care everything. Whenever the leadership says that, yeah, you are not doing good, you have to step down, you have to step down. And that's what happened. That's what the good sign of the democracy. If you have a democracy in the party, you will have a democracy in the country, and you can rule the country better way, right? David Cameron has resigned because he promised something he could not deliver. That's why he had resigned, stepped out. Theresa May tried for Brexit several times, failed. That's why she has to resign. When Boris Johnson came, Boris Johnson has promised, yes, he will deliver, and he did. He delivered the Brexit with full of confidence and with everything. If the pandemic would not have been there, he could have taken the country to the next level. But pandemic was for not only for Boris Johnson, for all the countries. So all the world economy, all the world countries has suffered, because Boris Johnson was having the good cabinet along with him, and he could able to survive. But because of his personal issues, personal interest, he had to resign. And party don't want to spoil the party's image, and that's what asking him to step down, and give the chance to other capable leader. And we can see that Rishi Sunak is the best choice in the given circumstances. That's my view, Adibai.
Um, I have also many questions. I will keep it for me for the moment because Tina Bharadwaj has another question, and Gayatri ji can be ready to reply this. What qualities will Rishi need to be an effective leader and do things differently from Boris?
First of all, if we come to as a character of Rishi Sunak, he's totally a teetotaler. That means he does not take alcohol. So definitely he won't be into those scandals, and he will avoid those scandals that had caused the Conservative Party. So that's. From coming from that point, there's a lot more into his policies that is coming out. He wants a higher growth rate by improving the tax cuts, what I understood on his policies. And he also has a lot of reforms for the new parents, those who wanted to start their life, with giving a cuts to the child care cost. So that would again go positive for Rishi.
Uh, Hirdeshi, coming to you. When I came to Europe in 1990, 32 years back, I did not have a very much idea of this left-right politics. And I was told by my European friends that left parties are always for poor and middle class people, and right parties are only for rich people. So now coming to British politics, the same concept is spread that labor is for working class, middle class, and which is majority. Of course, in any country, rich people are minority, and middle class and lower middle class are majority. So, how do you see the politics of UK? Labor versus conservative. Do you think conservative is against my middle class and lower middle class?
Uh, Again, very good question, Harib bhai. This is very true. What do you think? I was also having a similar thoughts that yes, the when I can relate the politics of UK with the India, because that's the comparison I can do, and that will make you more understand how this is working. If you look at in India, BJP is known to be a party of rich people and very they call it higher caste people in India, basically, and all. But look at the government, what the policy they are implementing, what the scheme they are bringing. All those schemes are for the poor people, for the labor, for the farmers, for the fishermen, for all those peoples, right? And you'll not find a single policy for the rich class people, other than the more tax for them. Similarly goes here in UK. If you look at the Conservative Party, yes, is known to be for the rich class people, but their policies, look at the policies. Their policies, they are building the house. They are building the house for the rich people. No, not a single. They are giving the tax, universal tax credit. Are they giving to the rich people? Answer is no. So this is the old thing. There's a Labour Party continuing. So there is no truth in it. The party who is having the more policies towards its people, for its citizens, to who follow the rules, who are the law abiding citizens, and that's what we need. And the conservative is doing the right way the things. They are not into appeasement politics or particular religion or particular country or particular. They are equal for all, and that's what they want to do. They are doing whatever best for the country. But if you look at the other side of the Labour Party, their all policies appeasement, appeasement, and appeasement, because they want their the solid vote bank reside there, and they cannot make them disappointed, right? And they see that the vote bank, the particular religion votes so much in bulk, so they don't want to disturb that. But people who are educated enough, who are taxpayer, and who knows that what is good for the country, they are voting. That's why conservative party got the maximum, the solid majority, since 1987, the highest majority they got. And Boris, because Boris has whatever he said, he had delivered, and he promised. And now, because of the personal issue, he had to resign. So this is all old thing, that Labour Party is more on the Labour side and conservative for the richer side. No, there's no truth in it. Are bhai.
Hirdesh ji, Tina has sent a comment. Hirdesh Gupta, you are right, bhai. I was a Labour supporter for many years, but in 2018, I stopped voting for them because of appeasement politics, systematic racism across all levels of the party, and the fact that they were more interested in what is happening in countries abroad than rather than in Britain.
Exactly.
Gayatri ji, ji.
Are bhai, exactly. This is the point. This is, if you look at Indian diaspora in UK, if you go and just ask, are you Labour supporter? No, I used to be Labour supporter. I used to be this. I used to vote to Labour, but the Labour Party never cared for that vote bank, which but traditionally voter, and we Indians are known for the law-binding citizens, but they are not care. They were more on the appeasement side, appeasement, and that is taken them away, and that is benefited to conservative party, and we become a hardcore supporter of conservative, and that's why we are supporting now. Thank you.
And I feel also that Rishi Sunak, as being a young leader, was given the toughest department during the COVID pandemic times, where a lot of countries were shaking. And he has done a commendable job by offering furlough scheme to and saving a lot of families going into emotional distress. And that is why it has that is due to that resultant the tax there is an increase of tax cuts, but I think we should give him a chance to serve, and I am sure he is going to rebuild this country's economy, and he has got a value of patriotism, fairness, and he being a young leader, he's done a lot of hard work into finance ministry. um, I feel he, he's the leader. Yeah.
Gayatri ji, GM has asked a question: who is running the negative propaganda against Rishi, and is that going to have an impact on his candidature?
Well, I would say that yes, definitely, the opposition is trying to build a scenario over here to highlight the people of the color, like Suella Braverman, Rishi Sunak, and so they are constantly been harassing with very demeaning remarks, showing Rishi Sunak's wife Akshata serving some expensive serving tea to the journalist in some expensive cups. It does show the how the mentality of the opposition is. Um, Regardless that Akshata belongs to a billionaire's daughter. So definitely, the more hostile environment they would try to create for people of the color, the British people are going to be sympathetic even to the leaders. So I think that will work in our in Conservative Party leaders.
Yeah. Arif
जी
bhai,
हितेश भाई
I want to add on this one to Gayatri's point. See, more more target on Rishi will make his profile more stronger, because the leader who is growing, they are worried about it, and that's why they are targeting. More target means yes, he is the right position, because this is a person. The only few selected people are targeting, because they don't want to see him as a next PM, because he will not going to work on their agendas, and they are going to work on against their agenda. He want to work for the country, right? He want to bring UK to the next level. If you look at who all are supporting for Rishi, if you look at, he was the first one who has who has raised his profile, and officially he endorsed that yes, I'm running for this post, and he is very keen. He thinks he can run because he got the administration experience as well, right? Uh, and he got the endorsement for the many senior MPs in his party. And now there are few propaganda, these guys who are having their biased agenda, they will keep on targeting. So it doesn't matter, he should not be bothered, because you are in politics, you have to be thick skin, you have to face the criticism. He is also not a 100% perfect man, but he is the best man among all the candidates we can see, whoever is standing for the this position right now.
Hirdesh bhai, coming to a question from me, because it seems from your replies that you defend Boris Johnson all the time. And I have never been an admirer of Boris Johnson. First of all, because I feel that Brexit was a disaster and he came to power riding on Brexit. That is another discussion. We will sort out Brexit sometimes later. But my question is that during the pandemic, I think England was the worst country hit by pandemic, and we had comparing the percentage of the population, England had worst death toll. Then we living here in UK, we know that how inflation has hurt common man here. Comparing to India, such a huge country with 1.3 billion people, the leadership there controlled pandemic very much. The inflation is all over the world, but India is not as much affected as the England has affected. So pandemic has hurt very much England during the leadership of Boris Johnson. Then I myself, as I have a Pakistani origin also, I consider Boris Johnson Imran Khan of England, because he has a very his lifestyle. We can argue, but as Gayatri ji said that Rishi does not have alcohol habit and this and that. So a leadership has to be a role model also. And during the pandemic, when we were suffering inside lockdown, this Boris was having parties and this. So how will you defend your Boris Johnson? Because I feel that you are an admirer of Boris politics.
Uh, uh, Thank you, Arif bhai. A very fair point you have raised, and I'm not defending him, but I'm just admiring him. The way he had run the campaign for Brexit, for that he got the tremendous majority since 1980s, right? That make him everybody to admire him, right? And that is the reason, right? I am not supporting him for his party gate. That's the reason he is resigning, and somebody else have been asked to take this position. So we are in this situation, and that's where we are here to discussion. Now coming to pandemic, who has managed well and all. Every country having their own dynamics. India was having totally different thing. If you look at the India opposition, how they were targeting the Modi and all, though Modi were doing the best job in kind of a population and the kind of the circumstance India is having. If you look at the US was the worst situation, worse than UK, right? So every country suffered with it. Their leadership suffered with it. Not only Boris. So whoever able to survive, they are continuing, and many countries PM has to resign because they could not able to handle it. And so I'm not a big fan or big supporter of Boris, but yes, I supported him for the Brexit, the promise he had done, and he had delivered. But yes, because of pandemic and the party gate, he has to pay for it, and now he's paying for it.
Arif, sorry, I'm back now. Unfortunately, there was a lot of problem with my phone and things, so I'm back now.
No problem. Indranil ji, Aziz Doston, we are welcoming Indranil ji to join the discussion. Indranil ji is the one who convinced me that Rishi is the best choice UK people have, irrespective of his ethnic belonging and whatever. The candidature that we have right now, Rishi is the best choice, and he convinced me. So let's see how he convinces others that why Rishi is the best. And then I have a question by Tina Bharadwaj for Indranilji also.
See, I think if we look at what is happening today, I think we need to go back around 4 years back. There are four events that has happened in four very very important events that has happened in UK or has an impact on UK in the last 4 years. Number one was the announcement of referendum by David Cameron. Number two was the impact of that was people voting, although very marginally, on favor of Brexit. And this is a questionable thing because uh, on the follow up, we understood that the people, esteemed people of the government, the civil servants, they did not understand Brexit, what it was, and the implication, and they asked general people to vote for it on the basis of some uh, things that the people for and against said. Anyways, that's a different politics, but that was one event that has happened. The third or the second continuation of the event was the culmination of the Brexit or UK's, I mean, snatching the cord off from EU. And then the third event happened was pandemic. Fourth event that had happened and has a strategic implication is the Ukraine-Russia war. Now, if we take the event from number one to number four, I think coming back to Rishi Sunak, he joined somewhere at the time of 2B. That is when the Brexit has happened and we have formally we have been out of EU, and then the process of the work needed to stabilize the economy, to stabilize the financial forces, and UK is very prominent is the financial services in UK, the banking sector. So to manage that breakup from there, in that included the impact it had in the stock exchange, it had an impact in the way the banking function worked, in the way the capital market works. So working on that, the working on the general, the whole thing on the Brexit, and then the pandemic happened. So there were those two major events that had taken place, and Rishi Sunak had taken the charge on that. Now, when we talk of Rishi Sunak, we people normally say that oh, he had done very good in pandemic, and how he had done. I heard Ridesh also said very rightfully so how he managed the whole thing with furlough and all those things. We need to also remember that he had managed that, maintaining the interest rate of the country, maintaining the financial flow of the country, taking into account at that point of time the Brexit impact was also starting to happen. Yeah, in terms of working out what comes under the tax regime, what does not come under the tax regime. We had issues with lorries coming into the country, and the financial implication of that. I'm not talking the transportation of part here or the logistic part, but the financial implication of those that things were not getting into the country, and he had to manage that along with that. And then number four happened is the Ukraine Russia war. Now let's not go to the politics of it, but UK has a direct or had or still having a direct impact on that in terms of gas, petroleum, and other product prices. The worst I've seen is that now the supermarkets have started putting security tag on cheese block because people are stealing that, and it's an embarrassing thing, not on part of the people, but that people are hungry. So he was managing that part. So and had kept his calm until the last moment before the Ukraine war. He had managed the economy very well. Now, that does that give him the vote to have a candidature for or to become a PM? I think so. No, because that's an event of the past, and he has done as a job as a treasurer. What makes him more, for me, more lively candidate to become a PM and he'll do well job is that most of the candidates are talking of tax reduction. I think it's a coming from a finance and financial sector thing. I mean, it's an easy way to say tax reduction. You just had a furlough, you just had the impact of Brexit, and tax reduction means basically short term benefit, very, very short term benefit with a very hard long term repercussion. What Rishi Sunak is saying is just the opposite. The tax reduction is not the way out. The way out is efficiency and productivity. Now that's yes, the pain is there because the tax reduction won't be just there will be some pain, but mind you, the tax are paid by corporations, and by mostly by people who are earning well and who can tide this off. So tax reduction here would not directly impact the poor and the homeless and those people. So we need to talk of efficiency and productivity, which is what he's talking of. It's not a very populist measure because people looks at tax reduction and saving money. Definitely not the populist measure, but that's the right measure. And one of the reasons why I consider him is that he still has a level-headed, a balanced mind to take this country forward in this economic and in the political crisis that we are in. And hence, my view is that I'm not saying the other candidates are good or bad. They all, I mean, they have all proven they have. If in a country like UK, if you are putting yourself as a candidature for PM, you would have definitely done something good. Politically, administratively, definitely, we need to respect that. But I think where Rishi Sunak has that advantage, or I would like him to be the candidate or to become the PM because he had a different vision, which is a correct vision.
Indranil ji, Tina Bharadwaj is saying that Indranil bhai, looking forward to your analysis, always clear and logical. Now, before coming to Tina's question to all the panelists, the same thing I have also in my mind that when as you know, that I am very much active on social media, and when I go through social media, there are extreme right parties and people in UK. They always claim that we don't need a colored prime minister and we need a white prime minister. This is our country's, etc., etc. Now, Rishi has never gone to India. He has never done anything which shows that he has supported India over British interests. He has been more British than any other British. Then why do we have to face living here for decades, paying tax here, contributing to the production of this country? Why sometimes some British people target us? Don't you think this is racism? And what Tina is
I
saying
think
is that, panel, do you think people are uncomfortable in seeing a non-white person in a leadership position?
no. I would say if I answer that first, I would say no. Actually, that gives me a relief that Rishi Sunak is ahead in the race. Because what happens in politics, and this is politics, this is nothing to do with the candidature or the racism or anything. Just purely politics happens in every country, including in India. Let's put it in a factual way. What is happening is that he's ahead in the game. He's far, far ahead in the game. Now, what second thing is happening is that there are more and more people joining in the fray of to become PM. That means the votes will get distributed further of the other people. Yeah, so there is that implication also. When more and more people are joining, means the vote will get distributed amongst other people. Very less likely from Rishi Sunak because he has a strong base of people from who understand a bit of education. Not I would not use the word education, but the logic of Rishi Sunak, and that is irrespective of caste, creed, and religion. They understand that, and they are with him. The rest of the people have the same. Sort of agenda of tax cut. So their votes will be distributed. And one of the dirty politics is then to play this as a last ploy. I would say on the other side that this is a good sign that Rishi Sunak is really ahead in the game. Let's forget what they're talking of. He's not white, he's white. I mean, that's dirty politics. We should just ignore it. Be happy that I think people are using this now as a last straw because he's much, much ahead in the game.
Actually, I would just add one point here. It gives a conservative party as an opportunity to become a political pluralist party, because and in a way they are giving the ethnic minority an upper hand to lead the nation when they have a positive political views. So I think Rishi Sunak, the most of the conservative people over here in local, when I had a talk last time, they were quite positive about Rishi Sunak. I think they don't have these things in the mind. So any educated person belonging from Britain will only look for better interest of the nation. And Rishi Sunak had also raised one point of the economic situation today which Britain is facing is also one of the blame should be given to the war which is happening between Russia and Ukraine, and the Britain's money is going over there, so that also counts to one of the load that to the economical crisis.
Going to Hirdesh Bhai, I would have a brief question to Gayatri ji. Gayatri ji, we have a Pakistani origin mayor in London, in Birmingham, in many major cities of England. We had our finance minister, the chancellor, Indian origin, our home minister, Indian origin, our attorney general, Indian origin, our health minister, Pakistan origin. So, do you think that Asian or indigenous British are far behind in politics in UK?
Yes, I think so, because it shows the how serious are the people with their own culture, heritage, and political situation. Most of the today's young generation, be it India or England or anywhere, are not carrying that seriousness to work for their country. I would say that they are lacking a lot in looking a career in the politics. So well, Asians, why we are seeing so many Asians, because they want because they feel a part of this land, and the opportunities has been provided to them, and they are returning like, they think that they can bring change for the betterment of people, and that's how they are looking forward to the career. Yeah, and Asians are always known as serious about the career. That's been in the genes.
Yeah, I think this is the situation. Hirdesh ji, I would have a question, and GM also has a similar question to you. My question is that there are many reports, like last week's Economist magazine has said that in next 12 months there will be a huge economic disaster in UK. The inflation rate is high, very high, about 439%. They say that inflation rate, and living here, we know that things are getting very difficult. GM is asking the question. My question is regarding economic recovery. Is there a mistake supporting Ukraine openly and going against Russia? Would you think Rishi will correct this alignment?
Very good question. In this, if you talk about Ukraine, the war, Ukraine crisis, the way India has handled this one, India is not supported Ukraine, neither supported the Russia. They have taken the neutral position, and because that was the best suitable for the country economy, right? And India is taking the advantage of it. That same position could have been taken by UK government as well, but we saw that Boris went quite aggressive against Russia, and that made the UK economy suffer. And I hope Rishi will make some correction to it and bring the policies which can help to the UK economy rather than just going and supporting blindly to Ukraine. Yes, we are not supporting the war that Russia has done the war on UK. There are certain political, geopolitical reason behind it. Russia want to safeguard their country, their boundaries, right? And Ukraine having their own self interest, but UK should look at what is best for them, how they can their policy can help to the public and the citizens, and they should be taken. And I am hopeful that Rishi will take the right decision rather than just going aggressively to support one country and just neglecting the other country, which will make them suffer. And he is coming from the financial background, so he knows that what step he need to take to correct this, correct it. So I'm hopeful that these changes will come in place after Rishi is there.
Indranil ji, I have a very hard question, and the same question is GM. As you have a very good view of British politics, don't you think that England is a subservient friend of United States of America? Because when we see some past history, when in United States invaded Iraq, Germany and France opposed it, but England at that time, I think it was Tony Blair, and immediately England jumped in that. Whatever America does, England is beside that. And a general perception is that behind this Brexit is also United States, because you are leaving your next door neighbors and your next door partners, trading partners. You are leaving them for a so far away friend, United States. And GM is asking the same question. Geopolitically, where is UK heading? Is it always going to play second fiddle to United States globally when Rishi becomes PM?
I think it's okay. Let me answer this, and both politically and economically. I think politically, after, if you see Margaret Thatcher, yeah, UK did not produce a PM who had a world standing and could not become a world leader in true sense. So the world leaders, if you consider since 90s, have been US presidents, whether it's Clinton or George Bush or ABCD, or has been Merkel, or has been someone, even Vajpayee for that matter, for some in fact, even Dr. Manmohan Singh had that aura, which German prime ministers somehow, or the German leadership, cannot gather themselves to the world politics. They did not have that thing, and they always, Britain by historically always want and would want to be a world, counted as one of the world leaders in the game. What Tony Blair did at that point of time, and that's my personal view, absolutely, and nothing, not based on any someone wrote or said. I think he wanted to become a that world leader, and which was thought to be a short war, which could lead to couple of big fish catches, yeah, like like Osama bin Laden, ABCD, and he could be said as one of the world leaders, along with George Bush, as a surveyor of terrorism, and one of those guys who destroyed terrorism in the world politics or in the world equation. That failed. A person knowing, seeing Boris Johnson's charisma and how he behaved, also when he was a mayor of London, yeah, he introduced that Boris bike. It was never any other bike, it was a Boris bike. It was the e-city, e-gardens and things. So Boris also had that charisma, and he always wanted to stand up to that equation of being counted as a world leader. I think somewhere, my personal view, it went a bit far ahead than required. As part of NATO, probably you would support the war to Ukraine. I understand that UK is a part of NATO. UK is not a part of EU, but UK is a part of NATO. So UK has to support it politically in some shape or form. What was the shape or form, and how far you had to go to support to go to Kiev? I think what people, even those who were supporting war, my personal view is that what they did not like was when UK was suffering internally from economic and issues on economies, and price rise and all. He was seen more with the president of Ukraine in Kiev, rather than the people in UK. So that had one of the grunts of the people. Uh, the direct repercussion, now coming back to the economic side of it, so the direct repercussion is also, number one, yes, Russia has its or Putin is playing a direct personal game. So Putin did not like that, and Putin has tightened its screw on UK in terms of oil supply and all. But that is one part of the game. See, UK is basically UK is a island nation, yeah, and the biggest one of the biggest supply of UK is the financial service or the service market, not so much on the manufacturing and on the logistic part of the market. That's why UK is always dependent on EU. What Boris Johnson in the meantime did was very good. Was on the hindsight, he had struck a trade deal with Japan, and the biggest thing was he's striking, or he was, or now someone else will do it, striking that trade deal with India, which will have a lot of inflow and outflow of goods, which reduces the dependence of UK towards EU and also towards US and China to a major extent in many of the ways. That's one good thing is happening, but that is not, again, it's not going to change the equation in day one. The crisis is today, and what we are seeing, the benefit will come in 2 to 3 years time, not today. So that is one part of it. Coming back to this question about the impact of Ukraine war is, first of all, yes, Putin did had a issue, and he did strike a lot of oil or reduce the oil supply and things, or gas supply, which is affecting UK. But also other countries like Germany and EU are the EU countries are facing this trouble. Yeah, and the impact of that the imports coming from these countries to UK, including US, has increased the cost and reduce the the output also, and reduce the number of, or the flow of goods. That is also creating a problem. So it's a two problem that UK is facing right now in terms of the war. One is a direct action with Putin, and number two is the indirect action on the other countries, which is having a repercussion on UK. So UK has got a bit of a hard task. Whoever becomes the prime minister, the treasurer, has a hard task to balance both the thing. And yes, even if you balance one part, get into the equation that, like Germany is doing. Yeah, politics is one side, fair enough, but let the economy flow, let the pounds flow to Russia, and let some oil come and gas comes here, because this war, as people are predicting, I'm not predicting, as analysts are predicting, is going to be a long drawn war. You cannot suffer that long and make the people suffer. So there has to be some political correction, definitely made by UK in this aspect, to ensure some flow and easy flow of gas and electricity. Otherwise, this winter is going to be very, very difficult winter. And then, of course, to look on the other parts, like other products and things that are imported, how do we manage that flow? So it's going to be a very, very difficult task for whoever is managing the next term now.
Before going to the final concluding remarks by my honorable panelists, I have this final question from Tina ji for panelists. First of all, I would like to thank Tina ji and GM for continuously participating in the discussion and asking their questions. Tina ji is asking that panel, a lot of people are continuously associating Rishi with his father-in-law wealth and holding that against him. What are your views about this? Anyone? Ji Hirdesh bhai.
Yeah, bhai. See, I want to take this question first. Okay. See, uh, Rishi got married with Akshita Murthy, is a daughter of Narayan Murthy, is a billionaire. But the question comes in: Rishi is a politician. Did he made that money out of politics? Answer is no. Then why you are associating that his wife is having so much of money, as he is billionaire? Why the people are associating with it? She is doing her job. She is not making any money out of the politics, and they are not earning making money in UK. They have a business across the globe. Infosys is known company, and they having she is a shareholder, right? And Rishi got married quite late with Akshita, and Akshita was already a millionaire. He got from her father, right? So associating her father-in-law's money with Rishi is totally irrelevant in this context. If he had made the money after being a politician, after holding the plum position and doing the corruption, then yes, you can raise the question. But associating doesn't make any sense. Like Trump. Trump is a billionaire guy, right? He did not make the money after becoming a president. He was already a billionaire, right? He used money for his campaign. That's absolutely fine. If Rishi wanted to use his money from his own pocket for his elevation, that's absolutely fine. Nobody should have a problem. He's not using the taxpayer money. If you are using the taxpayer money, then should be a question. So these questions are totally irrelevant for me. Thank you.
Before now, I'm going to the concluding remarks from my three friends, starting with Gayatri ji. Gayatri ji, what are your final message to the British people and especially conservative members for Rishi's candidature? And also, one question since beginning was in my mind. So, if all of you three can reply this question in your concluding remarks, that Rishi becoming Prime Minister of UK, will it have any benefit for India? Gayatri ji.
Yes, definitely. It will have lots of benefits for India because currently we had a deal signed between England and India. So, and we had the law ministers of India, we have the petroleum ministers of India visiting England. So, so things are progressing in that end of trade deal. It would be it is in the best interest of England to invest in India rather than Chinese, who have been reported as like spying over the British assets. Now, second thing is that the remarks on Rishi's wife and his connections with the wealthiest father-in-law in India. So that on that point, I wanted to say that India, Rishi Sunak's wife does not hold the citizenship of UK. So she and that's her choice to be an Indian citizen. She is paying India the taxes that she holds up to Indian government. So and Indian government does not allow any dual citizenship. And that's why she does not have a choice. Things will become more complicated if I think that's also not allowed in in Britain, and that is why she is only paying the taxes to Indian government. Second thing, whether Rishi Sunak as a ministerial code of conduct has reported this to the cabinet office and the treasurer. Yes, he has. So he has. So they have not broke any law, or they are not doing anything illegal. So that this is mere like a purposefully smear campaign crafted against him by the opposition, I would say.
And your concluding remarks for Rishi
I
to
would
be conservative?
I would wish him all the best, and we are looking forward for him to become this country's prime minister, and definitely he's going to bring a positive change.
Indranil ji, how do you convince your conservative members to support Rishi's campaign?
I think before that, I'll first answer to what you asked first, and Ridesh answered, Gayatri answered. Let me just say one thing. There are two things actually. Number one is that there has been no finding that Rishi has used his own wealth or made wealth out of his position as a treasurer, or used his wealth in any which ways to consolidate his position. So that's not the question. It's about the tax question of his wife, which should be different. On a lighter note, was are we saying that Boris Johnson had misused the politics because he had two ex-wives who probably would have voted for him, so he had more chances of winning because he has got two more votes? It's simple as that. Yes, someone has more money does not mean that he's misusing it. So yeah, I mean, or someone has got more children. Are you saying that they're misusing the power because there are more children and no more people will vote for them? So that's not the case. I mean, that's again, I think one of the things, politics where it happens. These smear campaigns are part of the game. Coming back to Rishi Sunak's candidature and how it will help India, see, I think in many which ways, I think it's whether it's Rishi Sunak or anybody. If UK needs to have a long-term policy about getting out of Chinese clutches, which we saw what's happened in Sri Lanka, we saw what's happening in other countries, um, and we saw what MI5 chief said the other day, that China's clutch is having a lot of clutches in this country. UK has to turn to India because India is one of those strategic partners where UK can work and India can work, and it is a gain-gain situation for both India and UK. and not a one-way solution or one-way traffic. So I think the very natural thing that would happen is an economic, more further, I would say, economic strengthening partnership and strategic partnership between India and UK. It is bound to happen, whoever it is. Again, why Rishi Sunak? It's simple, as I said before, that at this moment, given that what I've heard from everybody, his views, his vision about managing the economy, which is the crisis point right now, rather than the political part, is he is more competent, or his visions are more clearer and more long-term beneficial vision, and hence Rishi Sunak, my view. Others are good. Again, I said it, all of them are good, but his sounded to me much more clear in the vision, and that's it. And just I would say all the best, and yeah, hope he wins.
Hirdesh ji, your final comments to conservatives.
Yeah, thank you, Arif bhai. See, first of all, Rishi Sunak election has to be done by the Conservative Party members, not the public. This is not a general election, right? So the people who is having their Conservative members more than 3 months, they can vote. They will be asked to vote. There will be a link somewhere, and then people has to vote. And given the choice right now, the faces are coming. Rishi is the best choice. He got the administrative experience. He has handled the pandemic, he has handled the Brexit, and so he knows that all the tough time. The people he have a lots of learning, so he knows what how he can fix it. So for me, he is the right candidate. That's why I'm asking his support. I'm supporting him. I'm asking all the diaspora in UK, just come forward, support him, because he is the youngest person and he got lots of support, as well as the knowledge, as well as the clear vision, and he can deliver what is required to fix the economy of UK. So please support Rishi Sunak for the next PM. I request to all the conservative members. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you very much to the panelists, and to my final comments is supporting Hirdesh Bhai's point that there is no better candidate than um, Rishi, and Rishi is going to deliver to this country, to the people across the board, every ethnicity, every religion. He will be, because this is a nature of Sanatani people that I have witnessed, is that they don't differentiate among people on the basis of ethnicity, religion, culture, caste, creed. They serve everyone equally. And Rishi as a prime minister in UK will be a blessing. And I think that every person living in UK, belonging to any ethnicity, any culture, any religion, will benefit from Rishi's tenure. Thank you very much, Indranil ji, Gayatri ji, Hirdesh ji, for joining. And let's see what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.